Welcome to a Human Pace podcast. This is a podcast for people who have spent a long time holding it together, for those who learn how to overfunction, self-sacrifice, and push through, and are now feeling tired, disconnected, or quietly overwhelmed by the pace of life. This isn't a space about fixing yourself, breaking through, or becoming a better version of who you already are. Here, we talk about survival patterns as intelligent adaptations shaped by trauma, relationships, culture, and systems, not personal failures. We talk about the nervous system not as something to control, but as something to listen to. We talk about limits, capacity, worth, and what it actually means to live at a human pace. Just grounded, honest conversations, stories from my own lived experience, reflections, and practices, offered slowly with care. You're allowed to be human here. Hola, I'm Melody. I'm a somatic coach, yoga teacher, vegan nutritional therapist, and sound and energy practitioner. I work with people who have spent years overfunctioning, hustling, performing care, carrying responsibility, and quietly abandoning themselves in the process. Many of the people I work with look capable on the outside. They are thoughtful, responsible, and often very good at what they do. And inside, they feel tired, disconnected, or never quite enough, no matter how much they try. My work isn't about becoming more productive, more regulated, or more resilient. It's about slowing down enough to stop betraying yourself. Together, we work with the body, the nervous system, and lived experience to gently unhook from survival patterns, not by forcing change, but by restoring safety, choice, and trust over time. I don't believe healing should require self-optimization, urgency, or pressure. I don't believe people are projects. I don't believe rest, slowness, or support need to be earned. I offer private coaching, single sessions, vegan nutritional therapy, and both online and in-person spaces, including yoga classes, retreats, nature-based practices here where I live in Cabo de Gata, Spain. If you're curious, you'll find links in the show notes. There is no pressure to reach out or to commit to anything. You get to move at your own pace. I just wanted to say thank you for being here and for listening in the way that feels right for you. Oh my God. Hello everyone. It's been more than 2 years since I recorded a podcast episode. So that feels quite vulnerable, I guess, and new in a way. Well, I'm back. I am back, and if you were here before, you might have noticed that I have changed the title of the podcast. Now it's called At a Human Pace. And everything that you're going to be seeing from now on is probably going to be quite different to what it used to be. But I guess I'll be sharing about that more slowly in every single episode. And if you're new here, I guess, hi and welcome. I am making an effort to talk a bit slower and try to pronounce my words because I am aware that my accent, I am Spanish, might be difficult for some people. And I'm also talking slower for myself. I think it's very related to the theme that we're going to be talking about today. But yeah, it's with the purpose of slowing down and pausing if I need to, and think in my words if I need to think and reflect and everything, because pausing doesn't mean anything about me. This seems more like a conversation with myself than with whoever, if ever someone's gonna listen to this. Anyways, the theme of this podcast for today is about the mistake that I made when I thought that healing was all on me. Okay, let's go slow, no rush. I'm gonna keep in mind that we don't need to perform in this space. We can be vulnerable. I can be myself. So basically, about almost 2 years ago, like 18 months ago, I had a flare-up of an autoimmune disease. So I've got Crohn's disease, and I was in remission for more than 7 years. So to be honest, I thought I was healed. I identified as someone who has healed from chronic illness. I created a huge ego identity around it. And it did serve me for a while, obviously, because I was in remission for 7 years. I know that I did something right. But then when I got sick, again, I was like, what's happening? You are a healthy person. You are someone who has healed from chronic illness and who has been saying for years that you have healed from chronic illness. So that was a huge, huge shock for me. I went into a huge ego crisis, ego identity, because I had to redefine myself as something different. The problem that came with it is that I believed that I was responsible for being sick and that everything was on me. And of course, my story is about physical illness. But this could be about anything, because you might be listening to this and thinking, oh, I'm not someone who is sick, so this doesn't apply. But it honestly can apply to every area of healing that you're going through. It could apply to anxiety and depression and perfectionism and so many other things. So I'm just sharing it from my point of view, but I hope you know that this applies to everything. But this trait, let's call it, this character trait that I had, in which I blamed myself for illness and I thought it wasn't me and I must have been doing something wrong, or I must have not been doing something good enough or enough. It's very common in overachievers. It's very common in people who overfunction. It's very common for us to just keep trying harder when life keeps pushing back. I feel like we tend to be overly responsible. And that is a mistake. That is definitely a mistake, because not everything is within our control and not everything is our responsibility. So basically, the belief that I was living in is that I believe that because I was a capable adult and I've already healed, quote unquote, healed once, it was my responsibility to heal. So that translated for me internally in this constant inner chatter that was telling me that something wasn't working because I'm trying, I'm doing all the things that I used to do, I'm following the same things that I used to follow, so I must be doing something wrong. Or I am still struggling, it means I'm not doing something enough. I'm not healed enough. And I mean, there is some truth here in the sense that agency matters and responsibility does exist. I mean, we are adults now, therefore we are responsible for ourselves, we are responsible for our healing. But that responsibility is more about doing everything that we can. But the outcome is not our responsibility. And I think that's been, oh my God, one of the most enlightening moments for me in my journey, and something that I'm still processing, that I am in control of what I do, but I am not in control of the outcomes. And I feel like when I felt that I had control over everything, I was basically making something very complex into something very simple. And life does not work like that. There's so many factors involved. There's so many things involved. And yes, we are extremely powerful human beings. We are capable of incredible things. Like, I'm not denying that. And to be honest with you, I know deep in my core, or I hope at least, that I will be able to quit the meds that I'm taking at the moment once life settles down for me more. But anyways, like, I do feel that I'm capable of achieving things, but there are so many factors involved. There are so many nuances. Like, we're all so unique. We all come from so many different backgrounds. Like, oh, it's just such a complex thing. And I feel sometimes as well, especially in the healing spiritual community, sometimes we can get a bit of a God complex, and I might have had that, I don't know. Yeah, because we are powerful, but we also have limits. Like, we cannot control the universe. So yeah, let me check my notes to make sure that I'm not just talking loads of shit. Okay, yeah, I wanted to sort of break down this pattern that I had. And again, like, this has been a huge journey for me. I've been having, the support of my best friend and my partner and my therapist, because it's been huge. So the pattern basically just felt that because I was not getting better, I had to do more, I had to learn more, and I had to optimize more, whatever I was already doing. But the misunderstanding, the mismatch, what I had to learn, what I was forced to learn in a way, not even forced, I guess I was guided to learn. And I'm so grateful because it's released so much pressure from me, is that healing was never about effort for me. Because honestly, I was doing already everything that I could. And I felt like if I would have continued down that road, it would just have been sort of like perpetuating my own trauma as an overachiever or overfunctioning human being, just in a different terrain. So I could be an overachiever at work or like whatever, and then I'm making my healing into something to achieve again. And that does not make sense. That would not have ended well. Well, it did not end well because I had so much shame. Every day I was like making protocols and like writing lists and like going back to 7 years ago, thinking about all of the things that I used to do and thinking that I had to replicate everything exactly the same, and like watching more documentaries, like reading more books, like, which is great in a way. Like, I love learning, but it was the energy behind. The energy behind was energy of like, I'm not enough, I'm not doing enough, therefore I'm pushing through and I'm doing this much more so I can finally get what I need to get. But I also want to mention that even though this was a mistake, I do want to see it from a lot of love and compassion, because this pattern of me of overachieving, this pattern of me of taking responsibility for everything and everyone is an adaptation. It's not a flaw. It's a survival adaptation, basically. Somewhere in my past, I learned that that was the only way to survive. So it makes sense that in a situation so extreme and so traumatic, like a chronic illness, like a serious illness, my body went into absolute survival, and my body felt like it needed to take control in order to fix the situation. So I'm saying that not just as a reminder to myself, but as well as, I guess, to remind you as well that if you are finding yourself in whatever healing journey, whatever your journey is, and you feel like you need to be doing more, you feel like you're not doing enough, you're making like your healing into something to achieve, to notice that obviously that is a pattern keeping you stuck and that is probably not serving you. But at the same time, can you hold compassion for yourself, knowing that this came from somewhere? You know, it's not a flaw, it's just an adaptation trying to protect you, period. So I hope you can hold both realities. So the acknowledgement of, oh, okay, I'm doing this and this is not helpful, and also I'm doing this and I love myself for that because I'm just doing my best. What did I write here? Okay, so like the shift, what healing actually required. And when I say healing, I mean, take this with a pinch of salt. I don't say healing as like an end line. I don't say healing as like the end result is me and no illness, or the end result is us and we don't have anxiety anymore, or we're enlightened. I never know how to pronounce this word in English. I hope you know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, yeah, I mean just healing in a sense of me as humans working slowly towards, I guess, towards what feels truest for us, towards our most authentic selves, towards our most aligned lives, right? I hope that's clear. So what healing actually required was accepting that I don't control everything, as I said before, and also allowing myself to grieve. And you might think, grieve what? Well, obviously grieve the version of myself that was healthy, grieve the relationships that I lost because of it, grieve so many things, but the grief specifically of letting go of the fantasy that if I do it right, life will cooperate. Because it's not always like this, and we are sold so many times in New Age spirituality healing spaces that we can manifest our way through life, that we can create everything we want. And I mean, I've fallen victim of this as well, and I've said those things as well myself. And it's not that I don't believe it. Again, I think we are powerful beings, but I think life is so much more complex. I'm going to pause for a moment here. If you're listening and noticing that this topic is touching something tender, especially around exhaustion, overfunctioning, or feeling like you're always doing and it's still not enough, I want to let you know that there is a free resource available if and only it feels supportive for you. I've created a gentle 5-day challenge experience called REBIRTH for people who are tired of living in survival mode and want to slow down in a way that's actually safe. It's a small, contained space where I share simple somatic practices and reflections, not to fix you or give you another thing to do, but to help you listen to your body and reconnect with your own pace. There is no pressure to keep up, practice, or share anything. You can move through it quietly in your own time. If you're curious, you'll find the link in the show notes. And if now isn't the right moment, that's completely okay too. Let's come back to the episode. Than that, I think we need to normalize that there are more factors involved, like illness, financial trauma, race, oppression, timing, other people. Like, oh my God, we are such unique beings navigating life from so many different points of view. We're all navigating life with different struggles. Some people more than others. And they didn't choose it. It's just because of where they were born, their color of the skin, their sexual orientation, their agenda. So, yeah, we cannot always control the outcomes. And the outcomes are not for us to fix. And I'm going to talk now. For me, the outcome is not for me to fix. Because context really matters. Context is huge, and I think before that, so when I was first diagnosed with Crohn's disease, this was about, I think, already 9 years ago. An illness triggered a spiritual awakening for me. And then I embraced this journey of healing in so many different levels and spirituality, and I started, working on the industry and doing so many things. But I think I missed that point. I think I was missing. And I mean, I still have so much to learn, don't get me wrong, right? But I guess I do have more knowledge now than I had before, and I still need to get more knowledge, but the context is a very important factor in healing, because we all have different nervous systems. We all come from different backgrounds. We all have different stories and histories. We all have different starting points. And honestly, we actually need to name explicitly the disadvantages that we carry, or that some of us carry. Trauma, huge one. Financial stress, financial trauma, chronic illness, lack of safety or support. These aren't excuses. They are context. And I feel like sometimes in the healing space, those things were named as excuses, and they are fucking not. Sorry for saying it like that, but they are not. They are context. And we need to keep those in mind for ourselves so we can bring compassion and gentleness in our journey, but also for others, understanding others. So I wanted to zoom out a bit as well and sort of look at the systems that we are in. I'm in a bit of a like, rebel phase in my life, which I'm loving, by the way, like really embracing this sort of like, I don't know if I call it rage, but there's like anger with it within me. There's like, with all of these realizations of the system, I think a lot of anger has come up even more. Anyways, so let's zoom out. We need to name systems of oppression, and capitalism is one of them because it demands productivity, it demands resilience, it demands self-optimization. And these three things are not wrong, but they are wrong in the way that they are asked. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like productivity over being human, resilience no matter what, self-optimization because you're never enough, because those are the messages that we constantly receive. In my day job, this is so clear because productivity is like the number one thing. And you know what? I'm actually talking from someone who is very productive. Like, I've mentioned this in the past, not to label myself, but I'm a manifesting generator. I love getting things done. I am someone who is extremely organized, and I love organization. I thrive in order. I guess because it allows me to control. But yeah, like, I'm someone who can get loads of things done. What was I saying? But the level of productivity that they are asking is completely inhumane, and I feel like it completely disregards the context. Again, I think I am neurotypical, but what about someone who is neurodivergent? That is something you cannot ask from them, maybe. I don't know. I'm not an expert, okay? So if I'm making a mistake here, please let me know. Someone with illness, you cannot ask the same, but even a regular, healthy, neurotypical person, the levels of productivity that they are asking in this company are not humane. And not just in this company, I'm sure it happens everywhere, because this is what capitalism wants. Capitalism wants us to be machines. They want us to constantly produce. They want us constantly plugged into a system of consumption. They want us to constantly feel like we are not enough, that we need to get better, that we need to be strong, that, oh my God, it's exhausting even just talking about it. But yeah, this system completely ignores the conditions that exhaust and traumatize us, because again, it doesn't see us as humans. So if we consider the system, it's even more clear that however you're feeling, whatever you're struggling with, is not a personal failure. It's structural. And that was so relieving for me to understand, and I'm still understanding. I don't want you to think that this is completely integrated. Like, it's something that I will probably have to integrate for years, because it's been ingrained in me by my family and by society. But knowing that, yes, I'm an adult, I'm responsible of the actions that I take, and I can also acknowledge that I am not someone to blame for being sick. Illness happens, it's part of life. We are not gods that live forever. We are having a human experience. And the human experience has death, has illness, has joy, and has struggle. It has a bit of everything. And we cannot control everything. And we need to understand that there is a major issue that is structural. So for me, the practice has been about stopping the needing to fix myself and stopping the trying to find like the missing tool. Like, okay, if I did this like years ago and it worked, but now it's not working, then I'm missing this supplement, I'm missing this practice. Like, no, like I'm going in a much more gentle way. Like, yeah, it's more compassionate now. I feel like I softened so much. And I feel like I suffered so much as well because it's humbled me so much, because it's broke me to pieces. It's destroyed my ego in a way. Which, you know, it was hard, but it's been great. It's been great to sort of feel like more grounded and more human. But anyways, yeah, it's brought a lot of softening and healing for me now. It's about finding a lot of gentleness, compassion, love, understanding, and getting out of this black and white thinking, right? Like, yeah, I feel like that is very, very important. Another internal shift is to blame myself less. I might catch myself blaming myself, but I am noticing it. And I am bringing again understanding and the complexity of the situation, reminding me of the systems that I've been, the things that I had to go through that obviously led me here. And also acknowledging privilege has been huge as well, because time, safety, resources, they aren't evenly distributed. We don't all have access to everything, and I think we need to consider that. Maybe if we find ourselves in a situation that is less privileged, or also understanding that other people might not be in such a privileged situation. So yeah, those things were very, very important. So I guess I would like to close this monologue that I've been doing for a while by reminding you that sometimes all you can do is your best within a system that benefits from us burning out. Like, really, all we can do is our best. Yes, you're responsible. Do the things that you can actually do. But understand that you're still functioning in a system that wants us broken, that wants us mentally and physically sick. And I want you to know as well that here and the work that I do and the work that I intend to do is not about helping you adapting better to this system, because I'm not trying to adapt better to this stupid system. It's not about performing healing. No, like, my work is about helping people stop blaming themselves for what was never just personal. It's really, really that. You know, in the past, and I honestly take full responsibility for it, like, before getting sick this last time, I was in the business industry for a while as a nervous system coach. And because I sort of fell victim into getting into the coaching bubble and hiring business coaches, I feel I lost myself. Let's just say it like that. And my coach used to tell me that I had to sell, and I'm not blaming her. I'm an adult and I should have chosen what was best for myself and my clients, right? But anyways, I made bad decisions. But my coach was telling me that in order to sell, I had to sell the nervous system work that I was doing and the trauma work that I was doing in ways that would benefit people. And the way she was describing it was so people could get more clients, so people could get more things done, so people could be more organized. She wanted me to make my healing into tangible results that would make sense within the system. So what I was actually saying, adapting better to the system, performing healing. And I need to tell you that I really regret having gone down that path, because definitely I don't think it's what I believed. I just felt that I probably lost my authority over someone else because I thought they were superior than me, taking full responsibility for it. But anyways, this is not what I believe now, and this is not the vibe that I want to give in my space, in this podcast, Instagram, wherever you find me online, in person. So yeah, I don't want you to blame yourself like I've been blaming myself for a while. And I don't want you to think that it's all on you when the reality is so much more complex than that. And I guess I love journaling. Journaling supports me so much. And I feel like these past 2 years that I was off sick, I've been journaling a lot. And it's been very, very nourishing. So I thought I could leave you with a question and hopefully it helps. But what are you still holding yourself responsible for things that needed more support, not more effort? Think about your own healing journey, whatever that is, however that looks like. Remember, it doesn't have to be like illness with me, but where are you still holding yourself responsible for things that actually needed more support, that there was a structural problem behind? So you didn't need to push more, do more, fix yourself more, whatever. No, there was something behind. So yeah, I hope that question helps. And remember as well, you don't need to fix anything after listening to this. I want this podcast just to be moments for us to connect, even though I'm just alone in my office talking, but hopefully when you listen, you feel less alone. And I guess when I'm sharing, somehow, I feel less alone as well. And I don't know, I feel in my heart, and I might be wrong, and it might be coming from my ego, that people will benefit from this. I think that I felt so alone these past 2 years, so misunderstood, so abandoned, that I wish I had someone telling me those things. I mean, I did have, as I said, my therapist, my best friend, my partner, but I wish I had more of that. So hopefully I can be that space for you. Anyways, let's close this. And I just want to say, remember, you are adapting. You are not failing. Okay? If you are here, thank you so much for listening. And honestly, I'm excited to record the next episode. Thank you for listening and for spending this time here. If something in this episode stayed with you, you're welcome to sit with it, come back to it, or share it with someone who might find it supportive. If leaving a rating or review feels right, it does help this work reach people who are looking for a slower, more grounded space. If you're interested in being in a community, I hold a small private space online where people can connect without pressure or performance. You'll find the link in the show notes. You can also find me on Instagram, where I try to share reflections from my life and work at a human pace, not as advice, just as presence. And if at some point your body is curious about working together, I offer a few different ways to do that, including single sessions, longer term one-to-one work, vegan nutritional therapy, and both online and in-person spaces. I also host yoga classes, healing circles, nature-based practices, energy healing, where I live here in Spain in Cabo de Gata. All the details are linked in the show notes. Again, there's no rush, no expectations to reach out. You get to take your time and decide what, if anything, feels supportive for you. Thank you for being here and for listening in a way that honors your own pace.